Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Anusha Soni. Now, we talk about the story which is emerging after India's loss at the World Cup. You had the Prime Minister who met Team India after their loss to Australia in the Cricket World Cup final. And a video in which the Prime Minister warmly greets the players, making an attempt to boost their morale, has indeed gone viral. But the open vicious tirade of hate against the elected leader of the country is appalling on many counts. First, it makes no logical sense at all. Before the match, there were many who were busy making theories about how the Prime Minister was there at the stadium to take credit of the World Cup victory. But after an unexpected loss, even his consolation seems to hurt the naysayers. It seems that the Prime Minister is damned by the opposition either ways. While informed, substantiated critique of the Prime Minister or his government is indicative of vibrant democracy, the present troll army, and not just of the nameless and the faceless, but also from the opposition camp, only shows vicious hate and somewhat malice against the democratically elected Prime Minister of the country. Come to the second limb of the argument. Terms like panauti only reiterate superstitious narratives against which country's first Prime Minister and Congress leader Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru firmly fought against in his entire political career. The Nehruvian progressive morality stands starkly against the narrative of dogmas and any kind of superstition. The present attack lacks any kind of ideological or moral basis to it. And without any logical, intellectual or logical basis, is this a sheer tirade of hate and insult against the Prime Minister? Is a sporting activity being used for political gains by certain people who want to make some electoral gains in this election season? We talk about all of these facets on Brass Tacks tonight.
याद है? हाँ क्या? पनौती 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 वो अच्छा भला वहाँ पे अच्छा भला हमारे लड़के वहाँ पे वर्ल्ड कप जीत जाते, वो वहाँ पे पनौती हरवा दिया। टीवी वाले ये नहीं कहेंगे, मगर जनता जानती।
राहुल गांधी ने शब्दों का प्रयोग भारत के प्रधानमंत्री के लिए किया है, वो अशोभनीय है, अमर्यादित है।
And what sparked the debate was also Priyanka Chaturvedi's tweet, which is part of our Motorola's India's best 5G smartphone brands tweet of the day.
Hello, Moto.
Well, she said, and I quote right now, the Indian cricketers clearly look uncomfortable having to deal with the loss and then have cameras thrust on them inside the dressing room for Prime Minister team to record the pep talk. Yeah, you can troll this tweet as much as you want. That's what she said, Priyanka Chaturvedi, in that open attack and a jibe against the Prime Minister of the country. She's not the only one. There are multiple leaders from the opposition camp who have taken this position. While we talk about superstition and we talk about various other social narratives that shouldn't be spoken by the political leaders, is this really the right way to criticize the elected Prime Minister of the country? But no one can deny the Indian cricket team gave a stellar performance, which is why we ask the question, is sport being used for political gains? Is a sporting activity like cricket, which is a religion in this country, being used for siyasat?
Hello, Moto.
Well, let's talk about this debate to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast tonight. We have Mr. Tom Varan, who's the national spokesperson of BJP. We have Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangal, who's the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Mr. Sumant C. Raman, who's a political analyst. And Sanjay Rana, who's a political analyst, joining us on the broadcast. Mohan, I want to come to you first because my question is also to the Congress Party. And I believe Congress Party is one of the parties that takes pride in itself, and rightly so, for the kind of reforms that was undertaken Congress party led the country right after our freedom struggle, the kind of reforms that were unleashed in this country, and the Nehruvian progressivism, over which all of us are very proud of. I'm a student of law, and I've read about the drastic social reforms that Pandit Nehru had brought in our legal system, in our constitution, ensuring that they implemented. For that party to talk the language of superstition and use terms like panauti, does it really befit that?
Shweta, I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill. I saw an excerpt of Mr. Gandhi's speech where really said it in jest, frankly. And I'm not sure who started trending the word, but it trended on Twitter, formerly Twitter, now X, all day, I believe. Now, there's a lot more substantive issues to talk about when it comes to the World Cup final. It is our players played incredibly well throughout the tournament, so all compliments to them regardless. But Mr. Modi didn't have to go into their dressing room with his cameras and make a show of controlling them. And if you look at it, I actually think it is awkward. I agree with Chaturvedi, the way the players were reacting as well as Mr. Modi pulled Mohammad Shami's head towards him. Both make it seem like it's too much of play acting and too much of drama, frankly. Also, the selection of the pitch has been an issue. There's been controversy around how tickets were issued in this World Cup. There's been international controversy around leaving the captain of the team on the podium alone. A lot of it has been in very bad taste. I'm not going to comment on panauti because, like I said, I think that was just said in jest by Mr. Gandhi. It's not like a concerted campaign to try and prove that Mr. Modi is some sort of evil omen. None of that actually is true. But let's one second. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish this. But I want to say that if we say that we keep politics out of sports, I think Mr. Modi should start from home. I mean, doing the final and the opening match at the stadium named after himself, trying to build up to a fact where he was there only to make sure that he tries and takes credit like he has in the past. And many fellow channels of yours, more so I think in the vernacular media, were building this up to be Mr. Modi's victory more than the Indian sports team's victory. If you look at the kind of the news that was running the day before.
I'm only accountable for what I ask to you on this show, and that's your right to hold me accountable and ask me questions if you want to. But a few things that you've said in your opening remarks, according to me as a listener and a journalist, are circular in nature. For once, you argue that he was there to take credit, and when the Prime Minister goes inside the dressing room just because a video is made, you also discredit the consolation that was given. I wonder if the video hadn't come out, whether the critique would have been that, look, the Prime Minister didn't even go and meet the players after the loss. All he wanted was a victory. And if this was such a non-important issue, if this was something which should not be really given that much attention, why are the biggest voices in the opposition camp really talking about it? This is not an issue. It's an issue which has been made an issue by the opposition, not so much by the BJP.
I don't think any the biggest voices in the opposition camp are running a concerted campaign to try and prove that Mr. Modi is a panauti. Like I said, from that one tiny excerpt of Mr. Gandhi's speech, which was actually prompted by someone in the audience, he made light of it. I don't think that is like a concerted campaign. I would disagree with you. In fact, I would think you're trying to make it a concerted campaign by attributing it to wish, hate, and the your little monologue you did in the beginning. Surely makes it seem that you're more interested in having Mr. Modi feed his.
Please take the liberty and take all the personal jibes you want. I'm not going to respond to that. We are going to engage in a debate. That's all it takes.
I'm
giving, of course, I have an opinion. I put it on the table.
Hear me out.
I have an opinion. I have an opinion which I put on the table. That's what we are debating. And if I to camouflage my opinion as some degree of objectivity, that would be problematic. I'm not doing that. So I'm being intellectually honest here. Mr. Tom Vara can take that point to you. It is being said by various opposition leaders that even if the Prime Minister went there to meet the players, they seemed pretty awkward in that interaction and perhaps a bit too much. It was also said the manner in which the Prime Minister hugged was inappropriate. I'm sure you heard, the leader from the Congress party talking about the gestures or the manner in which that video was shot. How do you see all these criticisms really coming in? Do you believe there is any kind of substance to it, and whether the BJP would really want to respond to it?
Well, he sidestepped the question of panauti by saying that was just a joke, And if I extend that panauti joke, what Rahul Gandhi is for Congress is maybe some other word can be used. I leave it at that. I let it rest. Now, as the question
really
the Prime
joke.
Minister. Prime Minister going and meeting the players. Let me be very candid. How many Prime Ministers have gone in that dark hour to meet with the players when they are in a miserable condition? How many Prime Ministers of the Congress Party, or for that matter, anybody else, have had the time to go and stand with them? That is the attitude that should be looked at. And here, the party, Rahul Gandhi's grandmother introduced in the constitution what? Scientific spirit. If this is the scientific spirit, I think they should close their shop and take a walk. That's precisely what they should do. What kind of language these people use, and that same league of Mani Shankar Iyer and his niche, the word that he used against the Prime Minister, this has been a chronic problem with this party, and they end up losing out. They're the real losers because the country cannot take it anymore. You call the Prime Minister of this country, I mean, it's very clever, you didn't name him, but the point is it was all master plan. And then this great lady Chaturvedi, she comes out saying, well, the cameras are there. Cameras are everywhere when a cricket match is going on. And if the Prime Minister enters any places, the cameras will follow. This is nothing that is stage managed as the Congress wants us to believe. The reality is, Mr. Kumar Mangalam, you may grin, but the reality is you are the real panauti of...
I really believe, sir. I really believe, and I've been candid from the
Did he
outset
just
of this
call me a
debate.
panauti?
No, one second.
Are you going to let him know that's a
no,
personal
one
jibe? Are
second.
you going to let him get
Listen
away
to
with
me.
that?
Mr. Mangalam, listen to me.
I would like
Listen
you to
to me.
apologize for calling me a panauti.
One second. Listen to me. That's exactly what I'm coming to. That's exactly what I'm coming to. My request is, I began this show by saying that terms like panauti are regressive and defeat the spirit of progressivism in this country. And my request to all the panelists is to stop name calling each other and not to use these terms. We don't go by them, and we can't have double standards where we are critiquing the opposition and certain people for using that term elected leader of the country, and then we go ahead and call each other those names. I don't think that's right. But Mr. Kumar Mangalam, do you have a response to what Mr. Tom Vadakan has said?
I mean, there wasn't much of substance that he said that I could respond to, except to say that I don't think of myself as a panauti. I mean, he's going to call me that. I will point out that the way he called me panauti was in a lot more anger than Mr. Gandhi referred to that same term for Mr. Modi. Like I said, look at the text of the way he said it. Second thing I want to say is the Prime Minister is not this person who cannot be questioned or cannot be asked or cannot be made fun of in any way. Please don't hold him up to this sort of high altar where nobody can touch him. He himself has used terms like Jersey cow and hybrid calf for Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi.
And he's been criticized for that.
And
he's been criticized for that.
And he did that in election campaigns. He just said 2 days ago that Congress should hang. What does he mean when he's talking about?
And we had a debate on that as well. We had a debate on that as well as. But that's the point, that each time a political narrative falls down or sports in this manner is used in a political narrative, and we use terms like panauti, is that really something acceptable? Mr. Sumant Siraman has a point to make. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Anusha, 2-3 quick points. First of all, I think I must point out that you had muted the audience response in the video that you played out of Rahul Gandhi. Maybe you could have played it out with the original audio where the crowd actually greeted the statement with a big roar. Now that was, I would not want to say it was deliberately
muted. Sometimes the audio which is coming to us also blocks the ambience noise. It's also the technical aspect of a recording sometimes.
It's on Twitter. You can
it's also on Twitter. There is a feed that we get, right? And from that feed we put out that audio. Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. The second point that I wanted to make was, when did Congress Prime Minister go and console the team? The last time the World Cup was held in India, the Congress Prime Minister did not have to go and console because the team won the World Cup. So I think that Mr. Vadakan is sort of forgetting fundamental facts. In addition to that, we also won the 2007 T20 World Cup. We also won the 2013 Champions Trophy.
All of that 17th April 2005, so New Delhi, India-Pakistan One-Day International. India-Pakistan One-Day International, 17th April 2005. We had Manmohan Singh and Mr. Parvez
For India
Musharraf,
again.
No,
and
one
Pakistan
second.
won the match by 159 runs. Should we go ahead and blame our former Prime Minister? I don't think that's a logic. I don't think that's any logic, sir.
Can I just make a tiny point?
One
Can I
second.
just
Let
make one
Mr.
tiny point? I'm sorry to-
Mr. Suman
No,
Siraman
one
make
second.
his point. Mr. Suman
Let me make my
Siraman.
point.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Vadakan made this point. This how many prime ministers, Congress prime. I did not raise the issue. He raised it. So I'm just pointing out to him that between 2007 and 2014, India won three. Between 2004 and 2014, India won 3 ICC championships, and since 2014, we haven't won a single ICC trophy.
Okay.
That's besides the point. I'm not getting into this.
What is the
panauti
logic?
thing. The
Where's
second
the logic,
very
Mr.
important.
I
No,
thought
logic
you were
no,
a logical
yeah.
person.
No, there's no
I
logic. I'm
thought
not
that
getting
there's
into
no
this.
logic.
Mr. Vadakan, I'll
I
come
am
to you.
not-
You respond to
Okay,
him. Let him
let me-
finish his point.
I
I'll
am-
come to you, sir.
I'm
Top
pointing
matches
it
of
out.
hockey,
I
there are
am
other
pointing
games.
it out.
We have lost
Only
time.
because
Mr. Vadakan, let him
One
finish.
second.
Mr. Vadakan, let
This
him
is
finish.
no
Just
Yeah.
stating facts, Mr. Vadakan. Let him finish.
I had no intention of pointing this out until Mr. Vadakan brought up the point of Congress Prime Ministers.
Okay. I'm putting it in that context. Let's move on. Let's
Now,
move
one
forward.
more,
Let's move
one
forward.
more.
Yeah.
Let's look at the video itself. I mean, anybody who sees the video can make out that the team is distinctly uncomfortable. It would have been a wonderful gesture. The Prime Minister had gone in, spent some time with the team, consoled them, and at the most put out a photograph. Why would you need this kind of a stilted video? Rohit Sharma's hand is being pulled from his pocket. Mohammad Shami's head is being pulled. I mean, it looks extremely sad to see something like this.
But
And
I mean,
none of the players.
I'm also a bit appalled by the fact that how are we presuming everything as to the players
No,
were
you see the
uncomfortable
video.
or somebody
You
else
see the
was
video.
uncomfortable.
No.
I have
Why
a lot
don't
of.
you look at the video? Why
You
don't you
realize
I have not seen the video.
There's a-
No, I have seen the
you've not
video,
seen
sir.
the
It has
video.
been playing on television all. I've been working all day. Mr.
Yeah,
Sanjay
yeah,
Rana,
if
Mr.
you-
Sanjay Rana, a quick point for you. Is too much being read into that particular video that has been put out?
Anushka, good evening. Good evening to fellow panelists. First of all, it's very disgraceful the comment which people are making on calling our Prime Minister as a panauti. We fail to understand that 50% of Indian voters voted him and we calling him panauti. He bring our economy from 10 to 5th. We are number 2 in
haven't voted
mobile
him in.
manufacturing. Just hang on, man, hang on. And he bring automobile industry from 10 to, we are number 10 at this point of time. We calling him panauti. What we will call a person who lost 42 or 40 elections out of 56 elections? What will call that gentleman who bring his party from sky to bottom? What will call this kind of statement absolutely unacceptable to anyone? Whosoever is this, whether it's a opposition party or Rahul Gandhi or whoever. We cannot call Prime Minister. He's our Prime Minister. He's not belong to one party. He's belong to India, our country. Number one. Number two, when we talk about what he said, how many trophies we won in last 9 years. Obviously, if you look at the number of medals which we got in Olympics, I would say in Asian Games or World Champions. So you need to look at all the parameters. We can look at one individual game. Obviously, it's a game we lost. Obviously, it's a game we can win or we lost. Doesn't matter, but we cannot call anyone a panauti. How can you call a panauti? Our own self, these Congresses
Mr. Kumar Mangalam, okay.
On social media for 4 days. For
Yeah.
3 days, ever since the game. It is not as if Rahul Gandhi.
And Anushka, one more
One second. Mr. Raman, it's right that it's been going on social media for the last few days, but a lot of trolling goes on social media. But that doesn't mean that a senior leader like Mr. Rahul Gandhi or any other opposition leader needs to speak about, we really need to speak about that kind of trolling.
I'm calling Rahul Gandhi.
Absolutely.
Pappu, or when did you last do a debate?
We have done
on
multiple
the
debates
Murko
on
ke
Rahul
Sardar?
Gandhi. No, sir.
What
This
is
is
Murko
unsubstantiated. I do this slot and I do this debate very often.
when did
I am
you
not even
do
going to
a
use that
debate?
word on national television because I don't think Mr. Rahul Gandhi should be addressed like that. Any leader for that matter should be caricatured like that. So I'm not going to use. We have debated multiple times on this issue, the narrative that the BJP has used against the Congress. So I don't think that argument really holds. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, I'm coming back to you. And that's the point I want to talk to you about, which is about the ideological conviction. And this is one point on which the Congress party historically has questioned the BJP, which is that what are your ideological commitments? When you talk about progressive ideology, superstition, or the fight against superstition. I can quote you multiple things from multiple books that I've read written by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And isn't it defeating of that ideology and that thinking the moment Mr. Rahul Gandhi uses the word, even if it's in a lighter moment, it's used on a public platform? After
No, I don't think so. I'll just have to disagree with you there, and at the risk of repeating myself ad nauseum, say that he just said it in one moment in a speech. I don't think it's this concerted campaign that we're going out into town and saying that Mr. Modi is actually an evil omen for the country. Nobody is doing that. What happened was, Mr. Sumant Raman presented you with a whole bunch of facts around how we've watched cricket finals and semi-finals for the last 10 years.
Right.
And that sort of gained steam. But again, I would have to say that no senior leaders in the Congress party really are pushing that campaign in any which way. We're proud of our heritage and an ideology of this country being built with a scientific temper as Mr. Nehru intended for it to be built, exactly, as you said. Now, I just want to respond to a couple of things. One, this whole thing about did any Prime Minister ever go to console any sports person? We wouldn't know, because cameras don't follow all the previous Prime Ministers everywhere as much as they follow Mr. Modi. I agree with Mr. Sumant Raman. Of course, you could argue you don't see anything awkward with the way the players were behaving, but all of us body language, and we saw something different there. He could have just taken a photo, have just had a small conversation with the team indoors in private, and that mean a lot. If you remember, when France lost the World Cup, Macron went out onto the field.
Yes.
He didn't enter the dressing room of the French team at all. And if I take Mr. Kirti Azad's statement that was made, I think maybe 2 or 3 hours ago, he said ICC does not allow anyone apart from players and support staff to enter the dressing room. So again, Mr. Modi is abusing the privilege.
The political affiliations of any individual also need to be looked at when we look at the substantial arguments that they're making, isn't it, Mr. Kumar?
He was, yes, sure, but you would have to then argue that he's lying. Are those ICC rules? I'm sure Mr. Raman, who isn't affiliated with a political this thing, has quite a history of knowing cricket rules.
We need a cricket expert on that. Importantly, I don't think any statement has come from any cricketing body or any senior player which has said that rules have been broken. I'm sure the BJP spokesperson would want to respond to that. Mr. Tom Varakan, the argument that some kind of rules were broken when the Prime Minister went into the dressing room.
I have responded to that tweet, and I have said that when a politician wears his multiple hats, he should be sure what he says, because there is no evidence of whatever he said, that there is no entry for anybody there. This is the Prime Minister of our country. I mean, come on, if the Prime Minister of this country can't go to any place or there is prohibited by Kirti Azad, I'm sorry. I have not heard any cricketer standing talking this language. I've told them, you wear one hat, either you're a sportsman or you're a politician. You can't wear these multiple hats and make rules that well, no, Prime Minister cannot enter there. He went and stood with them in that Dhaka. I don't think that anything to do with publicity. Cameras come. I mean, I've been handling cameras for years, and I know when a media function happens, there's a dignitary. Cameras follow. This is not the VIP saying, "Come, please come and take my stand." I mean, it's too juvenile to believe that this congressman have come to this level of understanding. We organize cameramen for Sonia Gandhi. There's has to be a whole of cameramen standing there. They are invited to do the needful. This is what I'm saying from my own experience. And Mr. Kumaramangalam may deny it, but I know Kumaramangalam has joined Congress when? He has no clue how the Congress works.
No, I'm sure Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam would have lost it.
Another personal attack. Are you going to keep allowing?
No, I'm not allowing any personal attack. That's why I came to you,
nobody in BJP on me this way.
No, nobody is allowing any personal attack, and I reiterate. Please go ahead, Mr. Sumansi Raman, then I'll go to Mr. Kumar Mangalam. Yes.
Yeah. First of all, you can check this out with anyone. The ICC rules are very clear. Even for selectors wanting to enter the dressing room, they have to get prior permission. Forget about outside the game of cricket. Even if a selector of that very same team wants to go in, because there are security issues in terms of maintaining.
That is for selectors. That is for brokers.
No, sir, but I think this narrative is right now being made about the rules and other things. I am not aware of any rule which has been cited. Anything that has been cited so far. And this is much after the match. not even during the match. Can you quote me the particular rule that you're talking about? I'm not going to allow this in thin air, but if you have the rule and if you have the ICC rule book in front of you, please tell me that rule that does not allow the Prime Minister of that particular country to go to the dressing room right after the match has concluded. This is not during the match, this is after the match. If you can quote me that rule, we'll talk more about it. But Mr. Kumar Mangal, coming back to you, this is also the age of social media. This is also the age where all parties, including the Congress party, are using all forms of communication and media to amplify their leaders, to amplify the voices. This is the election season, and I've seen multiple videos of Rahul Gandhi and other Congress leaders which are there on the social media platform each time he interacts with anyone. And if this time it was the Prime Minister of the country interacting with the players, what is such a big deal about it being taken objection to?
Like I said, I'm not objecting to the Prime Minister interacting with the players. I am holding to the point that even though you might ask for the rule number, you could probably look it up yourself, that it was a violation
as far as
rules.
my research goes, there is no rule. There is no rule. That's why. Yeah, there's no rule. Yeah.
You're authoritatively saying that the ICC does not ban anybody but players and staff from entering the dress up?
After the match.
After the match.
After the match. Add that caveat to it and take me on record.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I'll just say that I've heard otherwise, number one. Number two, I say that, one of the reasons why this whole panauti thing has probably gathered steam is because a number of things about this entire tournament have been made about Mr. Modi, have been managed entirely by his Home Minister's son, who's been in that position for no merit of his entirely. He's now we've been now accused by Sri Lankan cricketers for ruining Sri Lankan cricket as well.
Mr. Varakan, I'll come to you. This won't serve the purpose of the argument. We'll come back to you, sir. Let Mr. Kumar Mangalam make his argument. Yes, Mr. Kumar.
The fact then that Kapil Dev, who was a previous World Cup winning captain, MS Dhoni, were not invited, was also doing the round. So there's a sort of a perfect storm of things that were basically not proper, that were done before the final. And the fact that the final was on this pitch that it shouldn't have been played on, all these questions together led to a sort of, let's say, anger against Mr. Modi. And therefore, this whole panauti came out and trended. I'm again asserting that the Congress party had no role and no part in sort of spreading this word which caught fire on Twitter.
What a big lie.
Let me ask one more question. Mr. Varakan, I'll come back to you.
Domain and saying Congress
he works in Congress IT cell, so he knows better than I. He's a clown. Again,
one at a time. Mr. Varakan, my request to you, is let us refrain from personal attacks on each other. I am sure we have more to offer to this debate. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, I have taken objection to any kind of personal attacks. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, I am taking objection to any kind of personal attacks being taken at you. That's my request to the spokesperson. Sir, can we please focus on the matter at hand? Varakan, what
dishonest? Shall I call him dishonest? Call him a liar.
Well, sir, that's a personal comment to make, and you will have to substantiate it if you make that comment against anyone on television. Go ahead and make your argument.
You're a washed up person in a party that doesn't recognize you. Move on.
All right, let the tempers cool down a bit. I'll take the closing comments from Mr. Suman C. Raman and Mr. Sanjay Rana. Mr. Raman, perhaps too much importance being given by the politicians on the video of a Prime Minister, which was only about consoling the cricket team, going meeting that. I mean, we all had heavy hearts when the team lost. So did the Prime Minister. I don't think such a big deal should have been made about it. And more importantly, a lot of criticism that was said to be quote-unquote criticism seemed to me like some kind of vicious attack. First, he was there to take credit, and then when he was consoling, even then there was a problem. So it doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, and I think there is too much of importance being given to what Rahul Gandhi said. One statement made in the course of a 30-minute speech where he asked for a caste census to be carried out, where he pointed out the issues of crony capitalism, where he highlighted the various issues, projects being done by Rajasthan government, and all that we could pick out was this panauti remark, which again shows we are, the idea is to make it an issue and, try to gain some kind of sympathy on the back of it. I don't think this time it is going to have any kind of impact.
I want to flip the argument to you. I want to flip the argument to you. I want to flip the argument to you. I want to flip the argument and get your view also on this, because the other side of the argument is that the opposition is giving so much importance to this one particular video of the Prime Minister, because in this election season, they have nothing against him personally to take on the Prime Minister as a personality.
Opposition is not giving importance. You go and see what is happening on social media. You can go and see that this video has become meme material, which is not what the BJP would have liked at all. And that is why you see that this is the topic of debate on all national channels tonight. That very clearly shows that this is something that has hit home, and it is nothing. Even if Rahul Gandhi had not said it, this had already become a topic of debate and discussion in the country.
That is to say that any kind of consent or dissent on social media or any form of mass media is not manufactured. I'm sure Norm is going to disagree with that. Mr. Sanjay Rana, the argument is that it's the opposition that has made the narrative. This kind of narrative is going on social media for the last 3 to 4 days. Then why blame the opposition for it?
I don't think so. It's going on only on social media. It's not manufactured or structured by a opposition leader. How it started? Obviously, the opposition leader make a personal comment on. If you look at the Prime Minister gesture, obviously he went there. He is a common man. He behaved like a common man. Obviously, his media is encouraging his team. There's no harm on that. He's part of this society. He's a part of this country, and he has all right to meet the people. Why people are making objection? Because why they're making objection? There's a reason behind it. Haven't done this kind of activity or this kind of gesture in their life. That's the problem. They do not have any agenda against the Prime Minister. They are trying to find out from last 9 years how to attack the Prime Minister. If they do have any agenda, no. They do have any kind of allegation against the Prime Minister, no. They did to deframe. And please understand, they are not deframing Narendra Modi. They are deframing Prime Minister of India, which is very important for all of us to understand. Right. And we are disrespecting 50% people, those who are voted him. We need to understand whom we are.
Well, sir, I am of the view that our Prime Minister and our government should be critiqued, and that's the hallmark of Indian democracy or any other vibrant democracy. We are the world's largest and the most diverse democracy. Critique is fine, but these kind of narratives and statements don't show good on people who use them. And that's what the larger point was. I appreciate, gentlemen, for all of you joining us on the podcast tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Slipping into a very short break. Up next on the other side, it's been more than 10 days and days have passed as the rescue operations continue in Uttarkashi. Is a breakthrough finally in sight? How long before we see the first person stuck or the labourer who's stuck there being rescued out? We'll get you top news on the other side of a very quick break.
Hello, Moto.
Presented by. That's why I'm confident that one way or another, whether it's men 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, those men are coming home. All of them.
Sir, your message to the family members of the people who are stuck inside, sir, because they are waiting to hear something, they are waiting to, these visuals have definitely instilled some confidence. Your message, because your words are definitely going to help them, sir.
Whether it's your husband, whether it's your son, whether it's your nephew, whether it's your grandfather, whoever it might be, they are coming home. And the team working around the clock 24/7 to bring them home, and that's why I'm here. That's why the member nations stand behind me, the hundreds of experts who you can't see but are on my shoulders are all here joining the team here. The experts, the real experts, are right here, and we're bringing them home. Absolutely.
Definitely, sir. You have worked all across the world, sir. How difficult is this Himalayan terrain since you have been over here, sir?
How difficult? This is the most difficult. And each morning when I come to work, you'll see I go and do a little prayer, okay? We need all the help we can get. And if Carly is listening, please, we want them back. And so I'm here. This is the most difficult geology on Earth. The reason you've got a collapse in the first place is because it's so difficult. The reason for building the tunnels is because it's such difficult terrain. You see the roads always being destroyed by avalanche. So worth it. Mightn't feel like it's worth it, but it really is worth it. These tunnels are a game changer. But we've got our work cut out for it. It's not over. Like, please, I have a smile on my face. I'm feeling confident, but that's because I'm confident in the team. We've got a huge job ahead of it. It's still not done until I see those 41 men and not hurt anyone in the process, then I'm happy. Okay.
Definitely, sir. Keeping in mind the safety of the rescuers as well, what steps are being taken, sir? How can we ensure the safety of the rescuers on this difficult terrain, sir?
So this is a really good question, because of course we don't want anyone else hurt. We've already got 41 men in peril that we're looking after, and we don't want anyone else hurt. So if you were to go down the tunnel, which I'm assuming you haven't been allowed to, and there's a good reason for that, it is really dangerous in there. Okay, what you'll see is tunnels, actually protection tunnels in place within the tunnel for the workers there. So enormous links being made to protect the rescuers from what could be another collapse. So let's not rule that out. We've got a very unhappy mountain and unstable, and so again the team here have gone to enormous lengths to protect the people doing the rescue. So, and that's one of the reasons for the delay. It's not a delay because people aren't valuing life, it's a delay because people value life so much. And for me, that's just the most wonderful thing to be a part of, and to actually work with a team who are so passionate about getting these men home.
So you beat us in the World Cup. Hopefully we'll get some
That wasn't
work
that
as a
wasn't
team,
me.
and we'll
Yeah.
get some sort of victory over here.
Yeah. So I claim to be good at tunnels. I am the worst cricket player. Trust me, if we played cricket, you would thrash me. No problem at all. Tunnels, okay. Cricket, no.
All the best, sir. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll see them out very, very quickly, sir.
I'm looking forward to doing this interview. Some smiling faces up here with us.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
So as you heard there, that yes, the confidence amongst the rescuers is increasing by every passing minute, because we have seen finally that debris which was seeming to be impenetrable has finally been penetrated. The first visuals have come out. Food is constantly being supplied, and work from all the 5 angles is now going on. So within the next few days, with the kind of confidence and the kind of confidence that these rescuers have, we can expect that we can get those first visuals of these people coming out safely. The visuals that we have shared with our viewers right now, these visuals actually tell that how the people inside have are high on confidence, and finally they have access to people outside. A communication link has been established, visual link has been established, solid food has been given to them, and also from all the 5 ends, continuous work is going on to make sure that all these people are taken safely.
And this is a CNN News 18 exclusive news break. CNN News 18 has been able to access the first visuals from inside the tunnel. Now, this video is from late last night when the first camera was sent in. All the workers inside are safe, and this is something that is being established through the video that has been accessed by CNN News 18. This video is from inside the tunnel. The video is on your screens right now, and this is the latest video that we've able to access from inside the tunnel. And in the video, it can be seen that all the trapped workers are safe, and this is what is being established by these visuals from inside the tunnel. Remember, even after so many days, the 41 workers are still trapped inside the tunnel. Rescue operations are underway, and now joining us on this story is Anshul Singh, who has been tracking all the updates and everything that has been unfolding in Uttarkashi. Anshul, what is the latest?
Welcome back. 10 days have passed, but 41 workers still remain trapped in Uttarkashi. CNN News 18 accessed those inside visuals from inside the tunnel. The video shows the trapped workers are safe and healthy, and they continue to interact with the rescue team. Hot meals of khichdi, dal have been supplied inside the tunnel through a 6-inch pipeline. Several family members of the trapped workers also spoke to them and said they feel much relieved and hope that the operations will now be implemented. Earlier today, you had Prime Minister who also spoke to Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami and took stock of the ongoing rescue operation. The question on everyone's mind is a breakthrough in sight? How soon will we see the first person being rescued from this tunnel? And By various accounts, this is one of the most difficult operation by international standards which is being conducted. More importantly, no knee-jerk reaction has been given, but experts tell you in the next 30 minutes how this has been a sustained, well-thought, strategized attempt by the state and the centre. Our focus on brass tacks.
If everything goes according to the plans of the rescuers, it is expected that within the next 2 days we can get the good news that we are hoping to hear for the last 2 days. It is a big question mark.
ऑप्शन है 2-3-4 ऑप्शन, उनमें से कोई भी ऑप्शन हमारा सबसे पहले जो भी सक्सेस हो जाए, हमारा यही है कि जल्दी से जल्दी सभी हमारे श्रमिक भाई कुशल बाहर निकले.
There is sufficient water, there is sufficient oxygen inside, there is power and lighting inside. All the basic essentials and food survival rations have been pushed inside through compression.
41 men are coming out alive. No one's going to get hurt while we do it. And we're going to do a deal with this mountain, get everyone home.
Well, joining us tonight are the lead voices. We have NDMA member Lieutenant General Hasnain, who's joining us on the broadcast. We also have turning expert Arnold Dix, who's part of these critical operations in Uttarakhand. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, first to you, sir. Talking about the manner in which these operations are going on right now, at what critical stage are the rescue operations right now? If you can give our viewers an overview.
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to your show. As to your question as to what stage we are, well, today is the 10th day, maybe the 11th day of the operations which are going on. And there is the concept of operations is simultaneity. We are attacking from 5 directions into the tunnel, waiting to see which one will succeed first. Now, the one which is most likely to succeed,
right,
is the one which has been reported since the 16th of November. That is the horizontal probe which is going in through the help of an auger, with steel piping being done along with the welding being effected. So that hopefully has stopped on the 16th after some vibrations had been encountered. Hopefully that will recommence, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, and that is supposed to be the fastest way to reach inside. But provided you do not encounter any aspects of Himalayan geology there, if you're going to find a rock, if you're going to also find remnants of the collapsed tunnel in which there is concrete or iron rods, etc., there is going to be another major challenge.
Sure.
So actually at this stage, it's very difficult to really give a statement to say, where are we? Because much like war, much like anti-terrorist operations, this is also an operation in which unpredictability is very high.
Absolutely. So there's a close cooperation between multiple agencies, and you'd know that better than anyone. But what if international expertise is on the ground for these rescue operations? We've pulled in all resources. What is the expertise that we are taking on the rescue site?
You see, right from the beginning, the one sensible thing which was really done was that everyone said, let's open up the coffers and go out to anyone and everyone who has got the experience of this. There are lots of people in Sweden, there are people in the United States, there is also the Thailand rescue, but that's an underwater rescue reaching a particular spot inside a tunnel. All of them were contacted. There were other experts who came online and gave a lot of advice, and that is still continuing.
Yes.
The agencies are still continuing that. 3 to 4 people flew down from there to Delhi, were taken to Dehradun, flown up there. Some of them are present there at the moment, still offering advice based upon their experience. Now, everywhere you find a tunnel collapse, you'll always find it is based upon local conditions. It is the local geology. That has a major role to play in this. So you may have the best of expertise from abroad, etc. You have to take into consideration the local conditions. And that is what we are doing, mixing it with all the good advice which is coming internationally.
Absolutely. Sir, I have to ask you this candidly because this is the question on everybody's mind. How confident are we that we'll be able to rescue everyone safely?
There are 41 people inside. They are generally young in their profile, and they all are hardy. They have been experienced in working in such conditions. Most of the labor which works on these tunnels, they've been dedicated labor for quite some time, so their physical fitness is of a very high order. Their ability to take difficulties, survive these difficulties is also very high. But notwithstanding that, I think the perception which needs to be clear in the minds of those who are observing this over a period of time and in the public, that this is not a small, stifling, suffocating space in which the 41 people are trapped. This is a 2-kilometer long tunnel. It's got lighting inside it, because that lighting did not break down when the collapse took place.
Yes.
There are 2 pipelines which are inside. One 4-inch, one 6-inch. Water has been sent inside. Some food items, I'm not specifying what, some food items have been sent inside.
Yeah.
Medicine, particularly antidepressants.
Yes.
Vitamin C and vitamin D, which is essential for people in enclosed spaces, has also been transported there inside through the help of a compressor, compressed air being pushed through the tubes. And now we've also got a form of communication which has been established with this probe going inside. I'm reasonably hopeful that in the very near future we should be able to establish a line. We should be able to penetrate a line through the tube and perhaps be able to send an instrument, even a small old world instrument of the army, which can be pushed inside. And if that can be successful, then a communication link will have been established on a permanent basis.
Absolutely.
That would be very heartening for the psychosocial part of the health of the workers inside. I think they are quite well from the body angle, but it is the mental aspect, the mind, which in 10 days, 12 days can start getting awkwardly influenced, etc.
Sure.
So that is very essential, and you'll be happy to know, the public will be happy to know, the government has also made arrangements for psychosocial specialists, doctors, to be placed there, so that as soon as one-to-one communications can be established with individuals coming in, then counseling can even also begin. So we are prepared for the long haul. As I can see, we are prepared for the long haul, but we are hopeful that the long haul will not have to be adhered to in the final count.
We hope so, sir. We hope so. And I'm pretty confident that the state and the centre authorities, officers like you, individuals like you, are working around the clock, monitoring the situation. What is the message that you have for the family members? They are very worried, rightly so, anybody would be. But for the family members who are listening to you, of the labourers who are stuck there, what would you like to tell them? See, all the family members, it's a very important thing, this aspect which you just brought out. I think when you have the backing from as high authority as the Honourable Prime Minister of India, yes,
the entire PMO, the major ministries in the Government of India, is the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, which is concerned with this. The NDMA, you have the Uttarakhand SDMA, and I've even spoken to the district magistrate, the deputy collector there, and I've learned of all the arrangements that they have made for the families, administrative arrangements in the hotels, the transportation to the spot, etc. I think with this kind of a backing,
yes,
you should feel very, very assuaged that every single technical human effort which can be made is going to be made. And I would also like to go to the extent of saying no expense is being saved for this. No expense.
Absolutely.
Because the Air Force, the railways, transport authorities of every kind, equipment being lifted from Hirakud, Baroda, from Indore, anywhere this equipment is lying there, it is being dismantled and picked up. Huge 75-ton pieces are brought on a train all the way up here, transported to this place with special high number of vehicles, and that kind of, even this kind of effort is going on. I think families should feel very, very encouraged that finally, in the final count, their loved ones are all going to be with them very soon.
Thank you for reiteration of that message. So I'll take the conversation forward with Arnold Dix as well. Arnold, you're a you're part of the rescue operation. A huge gratitude to you, the kind of work that you and the team are doing on the ground. First, I'd like you to tell viewers about the vertical and the horizontal drilling process, which is underway simultaneously. And there is much hope with the vertical drilling process, which is on right now. Could you tell us more about that, please?
So, what I can say at the moment is that obviously there's a lot of coordinated activity going on up on site, and you would have seen me there today all day and other days as well.
Yes.
And we're at a very important stage now, because obviously there's been a lot of recent success with the second emergency tube and staging that's going on. But what we don't know, and I'm really not able to speak about, is which of many different strategies that are being employed will be successful. And
sure.
This approach that's being taken by the authorities is actually quite remarkable. It's all the agencies working together, whether it's the federal government or the local government or the army or the various agencies, and the fact that they've come up with this sort of multifaceted approach, I think, is just fantastic, and a real credit to India and its commitment to the people who are trapped there. So I don't think I'm able to speak specifically about the pros and the cons of each of the different ones, except to say that they're all been really carefully thought out, and they each pose challenges and opportunities, but they're all different. And it's just been, as you can probably see, I'm exhausted. It's been a big day, and it's a 24-hour-a-day exercise up there at the moment.
Absolutely. You've been part of a lot of rescue operation. You're an expert in this field. Would it be correct to say whether it was the Thailand cave rescue or the 2015 German rescue operation, this is by far, looking at the complexity of it and the number of days it has taken so far and is likely to take, is one of the longest running rescue operations and perhaps one of the most difficult ones?
You're dealing with an extraordinary operation here, and that's why I'm saying to you, I'm absolutely amazed at the coordination that I'm seeing between the agencies. So my job, my day job, is investigating disasters, and I'm here seeing one of the most extraordinarily complicated disasters before my eye, and it's a rescue operation, and it's a rescue operation in really difficult Himalayan mountains. And what's extraordinary is that this rescue operation has attracted the attention, well, obviously, of the whole world, but also all of the experts that I represent in my organisation, and we're a United Nations advisory for the underground. I mean, that's what we do, that's our day job. Every member nation has put forward special experts who are they're actually effectively sitting behind me, and then I go to the table and I offer whatever I offer, and then all the experts here from India are there as well. So we've got incredible expertise from all the different agencies, this cooperation, this collegiate atmosphere, and doing the very best. So yes, it's taking time, but and this is a really serious but, that mountain of yours, your special Himalayan mountain, is extremely fragile in terms of its geology, and of course that's part of the reason that you have the collapse that you do. So part of the guiding principles that are there within the team, this incredible multi-agency, multinational, multi-expert team, is to make sure not only that the men who are trapped are rescued, but also that no one's injured rescuing them, because the risk is that something else will happen. So while it's true that it's taken some time, it's also true that no one else has been hurt.
Yes.
And it's also true that nothing's happened to anyone who's actually there. So I think if I was a school teacher and I was ranking what is a terrible situation, I would I would actually be giving India 10 out of 10 at the moment for holding steady, for not overreacting and jeopardising its own people in the rescue. The people, we know, you've seen the vision that they're safe, and the restraint that's been shown and the coordination and the cooperation is just, it's the sort of stuff that in time people will teach how to respond in such a serious emergency, because this isn't normal. Normally you would have a less considered response, and the consequences are usually terrible when it happens.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very, very reassuring that you're saying that. And indeed, coming from you, somebody who's working on the ground, reassuring for all of us. I have to ask you this: how confident are you of success when it comes to one of the most difficult operations that you've seen?
It's a rescue operation, and a rescue means that you're taking people from a place of peril and putting them into a place of comfort. I've said since I've come here that these men are going home, and that's what I believe. And I can't explain why I believe that. Just believe it to be so. And when I came here, I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew that the conditions were going to be difficult. Probably underestimated just how difficult they'd be.
Right.
However, also underestimated the resolve of the agencies and things that are here, and the way they're all coordinating. And so that's actually given me some comfort as well. You haven't asked me yet, like when are they coming out?
Yes.
I don't know. My mission, and I think that and I'm not able to speak for everybody, but my sense of what everybody thinks is it's not a question of time, it's a question of getting them out safely. And that's and in a way we shouldn't be greedy about this, because normally when something like this happens, this is an operation to get people who've already deceased out. That isn't the case. So I think it is a time for a nation and a people to take a breath and go, you know what, we're actually doing the right thing here. You know what, our men are safe. You know what, we're feeding them. They've got medicine, they've got water. You know what, how about we be thankful that we're in this position and we're not reporting something else at the moment. And that gives me enormous energy, and I feel, my belief is, we will be bringing the men home. I just don't know when, but I know the whole world is here, and we're doing our best.
Well, your gratitude and your positivity is infectious, Anil. But what makes this operation one of the most difficult ones that you've been involved in? Is it the sheer geography or the different circumstances around it?
I think it's the most difficult for two reasons. One, because technically it's so difficult, because the Himalayan topography, geology, physics, everything is just so incredibly dynamic and fragile. And two, our objective is to get people home safe. So the consequences of getting it wrong, or even not getting it wrong, but just the consequences of this could be so serious. It couldn't be any more serious consequence, and that's a really sobering thing. And it's like we've been given a gift, because normally we're not in this position. Normally, I mean, I can't think of any other emergency where I see the faces of the people 9 days later. In fact, I'd imagine many people would have been wondering whether it's not true. No, they're not really alive, you know, maybe it's some sort of a story. It's no story.
Yes.
The miracle is there right now. Our challenge, and it's a huge challenge, a minute by minute challenge, is how do we deal with the very, very serious, complicated, challenging Himalayas who are obviously not happy. Like you've got a mountain that's made it very clear it's not happy. So we need to make peace with the mountain at the moment and get our men back.
How far are we in making this peace with the mountains? Where exactly are we in this operation? What would we see in the next few days, Arnold?
So I'm not able to say exactly where we're at with any particular part of the operation, but what I can assure you is very serious strategic decisions are being made about each of the different rescue opportunities, and also how each of them impact each other. So I like to think of it like you have a mountain, and it's got our children, like the children of India are in there. They're working men. They're there. They've done nothing wrong. They're in there, and we're trying to open a door to let them out, and we're asking the mountain, which door will you permit us to let these people out? Now, the mountain hasn't told us whether any door is open. My view is that they are coming home. We are looking for a door for them to come home through, and that's the challenge of our team, and we're really working around the clock to do that, and we're counting our blessings that we're in the fortunate position to be able to do that.
Well, I count my blessings with you, and I'd say a silent prayer tonight for everyone who's stuck there and your team in the work that you're doing. I'm very happy to know that you see that with positivity and commitment, that all of them are coming home. That's a huge thing to say, and 1 billion plus people are watching and this rescue operation very, very keenly.
Thank you for talking to me, and I genuinely believe that they're coming home.
Yes.
I just don't know how, and I just don't know when. And this team that are here, if there's ever been a team assembled in the world in the history of rescue operations, this team will find the door to get them out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anil, and thank you, Lieutenant General Hasnain, for joining us on the broadcast. This operation will be successful. It might take some time, but it will be a successful one. Thank you so much for joining us on Brass Tacks tonight.
Co-presented by Dabur Honey, India's purest honey. Co-powered by Mankind Pharma, serving life, and A Small Finance Bank. Badlav humse hai.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post, and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki. After more than 6 weeks of war, a truce may be in sight in Gaza. Not a complete end to the fighting, but the prospect of meaningful pauses and the release of some hostages by Hamas. We'll tell you about the deal being brokered by Qatar. Meanwhile, BRICS has called a meeting to discuss the war. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not attend. We'll tell you why. The latest twist in the Sam Altman drama. He is joining Microsoft, or is he? Saudi Arabia and China have signed a currency deal, a major step towards de-dollarization. Italy has had an epic mafia trial, 200 people convicted with a cumulative sentence of over 2,200 years. Hungary's Viktor Orban is training his